1 year on Mars would change your body forever. Here's what would happen to you. Humans are known to be the most adaptable creatures on Earth. We can live in extreme cold or extreme heat. We can go from being sedentary to doing intense workouts every day. Our bodies will adapt to these changes. And that's why we are trying so hard to adapt our bodies to live on Mars. From growing plants on the red planet to using bacteria to produce oxygen, science is taking big steps to make human life possible on Mars. But how would living on Mars for 1 year change your body forever? Ow. Well, let's find out. No one. You will lose muscle mass. Staying in bed for a few days will make you lose muscle mass. It happens when you don't use your muscles for a long time. The body thinks that it doesn't need those muscles anymore, so it starts breaking them down and uses them to build up other parts of the body that it thinks are more important. This process is called muscle atrophy. The problem is that if you stay in bed for a long time, your muscles will get weaker and smaller. And that's what will happen if you stay on Mars for a year. Because even though Mars is just a little further than the Earth, the gravity there is only 38% of what it is here. So when you walk around on Mars, you will feel like you are flying. And after a while, your body will start to break down your muscles because it won't need them anymore. A study showed that after spending just 2 weeks in bed, people lost around 25% of their leg muscle. So imagine what will happen to your legs after staying on Mars for an entire year. Number 2, your bones will become porous. Living on Mars for a year would also change the density of your bones. When you are on Earth, the gravity keeps pulling you down. So your bones have to work hard to keep you upright. They do this by putting pressure against each other. This pressure makes your bones stronger. But when you move to Mars, the gravity is weaker, so your bones won't have to work as hard. As a result, they will become weaker and more likely to break. In fact, studies have shown that astronauts who spend long periods of time in space lose up to 10% of their bone mass. That's why when you go on a long flight, you are at a higher risk of getting osteoporosis. To prevent this from happening, astronauts exercise a lot in space. They also eat a lot of calcium-rich foods like milk and yogurt. But even with all these precautions, bones are still weaker in space. So if you want to stay on Mars for a year, you will have to be careful not to break any bones. No. 3. Your heart will have to work less. If you live on Mars for a year, your heart will have to work less. That's because the air on Mars is much thinner than the air on Earth. This means that there is less resistance for your blood to flow through your body. As a result, your heart won't have to pump as hard to get your blood around. Sounds great, right? Well, not really. It turns out that your heart needs that resistance to stay strong. When it doesn't get enough resistance, it starts to shrink. And that's what happened to the astronauts on the International Space Station. After a few months in space, their hearts were noticeably smaller. But when they came back to Earth, their hearts quickly returned to normal size. So if you want to avoid having a shriveled heart, you will have to make sure to get some resistance training while on Mars. This could be done by wearing a special suit that adds resistance to your movements, or by using machines to simulate resistance. Number 4, your vision will change. When you live on Mars for a year, your vision will change. It's because the air on Mars is very dry. It is only about 1% of the humidity that we have on Earth. This means that your eyes will constantly be exposed to air that is full of irritants like dust and pollen. As a result, they will start to water and itch. And if you are not careful, you could even go blind. To prevent this from happening, you will need to wear special goggles that protect your eyes from the Martian dust. You will also need to make sure to keep your eyes clean and moist. Otherwise, you could end up with a serious eye infection. No. 5. Your immune system will be challenged. When you live on Mars for a year, your immune system will be put to the test. That's because you will be surrounded by new and unfamiliar microbes. These microbes will try to attack you and make you sick. If your immune system is not up to the task, you could end up dying. Fortunately, humans have one of the most powerful immune systems in the world. If you take care of yourself, it should be able to handle anything that Mars throws at you. Make sure to eat healthy foods and get plenty of rest. These things will help boost your immune system and keep you healthy. Also, if you start feeling sick, don't hesitate to seek medical attention. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Remember, if you catch a bad case of Martian flu, you might not have anyone to blame but yourself. No. 6. Your sleep cycle will be affected. When you live on Mars for a year, your sleep cycle will change. It's because the days and nights on Mars are longer than the days and nights on Earth. A day on Mars is about 39 minutes longer than a day on Earth. This means that your body clock will slowly start to drift out of sync with the Earth. At first, you may not notice anything, but after a few months, you will start to feel tired at strange hours, and you may even start to have trouble sleeping at night. This can be a real problem, since sleep is essential for good health. To avoid this problem, you will need to wear a special device that controls your body clock. This device will emit light at certain times, which will help to keep your body clock in sync with the Earth. Number 7. You will get very lonely. Living on Mars for a year will make you feel very lonely. That's because you will be far away from all your friends and family. You will not be able to see them or talk to them, and you will not be able to visit them. On Mars, you will only have your crewmates for company, and even they will eventually leave. You will have no choice but to spend most of your time alone. This can be extremely depressing, and it could even lead to madness. To avoid this, you will need to find ways to keep yourself entertained on Mars. You could bring books and movies with you, or you could try to learn a new hobby. Whatever you do, just make sure that you don't get too lonely. Number 8. You will have to watch out for radiation. The air on Mars is full of dangerous radiation. This radiation can damage your DNA and cause cancer. To protect yourself, you will need to wear a special suit whenever you go outside. This suit will block most of the radiation, but some of it will still get through. As a result, you will have a slightly increased risk of developing cancer. But this risk is very low, and you can reduce it even further by taking certain precautions. For example, you can avoid going outside during solar flares. You can also eat foods that are high in antioxidants. Antioxidants help to neutralize free radicals, which are unstable atoms that can damage cells. Free radicals are produced when your body breaks down food or when you're exposed to radiation. By eating foods that are high in antioxidants, you can help to protect your cells from damage. Number 9. You will have to deal with dust storms. One of the most dangerous things about Mars is its dust storms. These storms can last for months, and they can bury entire cities under miles of dust. The dust can damage your lungs and make it hard to breathe. To protect yourself from dust storms, you will need to stay indoors and wear a mask while outside. You should also avoid strenuous activity during a dust storm, as this can make it harder to breathe. Number 10. You will have to watch out for meteorites. The surface of Mars is covered with craters caused by meteorite impacts. Meteorites are chunks of rock that come from asteroids. They can be small or large, and they can travel at speeds of up to 40,000 miles per hour. If a meteorite hits you, it could knock you unconscious or even kill you. To watch out for meteorites, you will need to wear a helmet while outside. You should also try to avoid being outside during the day, as meteorites are more active during daylight hours. Number 11. You will have to deal with low pressure. The pressure on Mars is very low, which is one of the challenges of living on the planet. That's because the atmosphere on Mars is very thin. The thin atmosphere means that there is less air pressure on Mars than on Earth. This can make it hard to breathe on the planet. In addition, the low pressure can cause the fluids in your body to boil. This includes water and oil. This can be a serious problem, as it can lead to dehydration and even death. To deal with the low pressure on Mars, you will need to drink a lot of water and avoid strenuous activity. You should also try to stay inside during the day, as the UV radiation from the sun can damage your skin. Number 12. You will have to deal with extreme cold. Mars is a very cold planet. The average temperature on Mars is minus 63 degrees Celsius or minus 82 degrees Fahrenheit. This is much colder than the average temperature on Earth, which is about 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit. The cold weather on Mars can make it hard to stay warm. In addition, the cold can cause your body to slow down. This can make it hard to move around and perform tasks. To deal with the cold weather on Mars, you will need to wear warm clothes and stay active. You should also try to stay indoors during the winter months, as the temperatures can drop even lower during the winter. Now check out What If You Drank Seawater? Or click this other video.